My name's Paul Hahn. I'm from the Boise, Idaho area. I've been collecting a long time. As with a lot of the collectors, started really young. My mom took me to bottle shows in Boise back in the 70s, and that's where I found my first item to buy. It was a half-broken purple wood altatum for $1. And I kind of got out of the hobby for a while, surviving school and going to college. When I got out of college, though, I moved to the Portland area and went to work. And I love cars. And I went to a car parts swap meet there in Hillsboro, Oregon. And it was there I ran into a guy that had a lot of car parts, but he also had glass. And that was Ed Selberg out of Vancouver, Washington. And I ended up buying a Mickey Mouse in Hemingway blue from him and talked to him for quite a while. And ended up in Vancouver in his garage looking at his collection. Oh my, I'd never seen anything like that in my life. The colors and all the different shapes, and it was amazing. So I went back and forth to Ed's place a number of times, and he introduced me to Chuck Irwin. And Chuck was equally connected as Ed, and he had glass and telephones and on and on and on. So one thing led to another, and I started collecting at that time pretty seriously. This is back in the, I guess it'd be the late 80s now. I like signals. I'm not much of a porcelain person, but I know people are. Not to mention any names, but I can appreciate those too. And mainly signals for me. I don't have space really for a lot of power pieces, the larger ones. So I like signals, both US and Canadian. So I don't know, things have progressed. There's another fellow I met in the Dalles, Oregon. His name was Pete Dennis. And I met him at an antique show in the Portland area. And he was a Hutchison bottle collector, but he'd bring a lot of insulators to the show. And he was telling me stories about amber HDCO beehives. And he'd bought 300 of them from somebody in northern Idaho. So every time I would travel from Portland back to Boise to visit family, I would stop by his house in the Dalles. And anyway, it just all kind of came together. I've been hooked ever since. And I've been collecting more and more serious the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 years. Got another friend in the hobby now, so we kind of egg each other on to go to this show or maybe go on this hunting trip or various other things. And that's Freddie Smith, the guy that's building all the backlit and underlit light boxes. So I got him out on a hunt there in Eastern Oregon, an EC&M line. And the first day we were out, we found whiskeys, we found arrowheads, and we found a pretty much mint amber loaded EC&M that day. And it was one of those things, we're kind of driving along a wagon road and he thought he saw a piece of glass, so we stopped. He walked one way, I walked the other. And as I walked out, I looked down on the ground and I saw some old looking glass, and I could tell it was amber loaded, and it was about the size of a quarter. So I reached down and I was trying to pick that up in the dirt, and I couldn't pick it up. And my fingers slid in the pinhole and I popped it out of the ground. And I couldn't believe it. It was an amber loaded mint EC&M. And we both got hooked more after that. We've been on lots of hunting trips, and we've got another one planned here in a couple weeks down in Nevada on a threadless line. It's fun to hunt, especially with buddies, and it's fun to come to shows and visit with everyone. And I love glass. That's kind of my story. Insulator collectors are some of the most honest, trustworthy people I've met in my life. If you were at a show and you left $500 on your table, put it underneath an insulator, it'd probably be there the next morning when you came back. I've never seen any problems. They all like getting a good deal, of course, but they're not gonna purposely try to take advantage of you. So I can appreciate that. That's good quality human beings. So I can appreciate collectors a lot.